Hi, this is George Alger, and welcome to this segment of OurVentura TV. Today's guest experts are here to talk about Working Artists Ventura, or the WAV, which is an artist community in Ventura, as well as their own organization, Place. I'd like to introduce Chris Velasco and Elizabeth Bowling, who are both co-founders of Place. Welcome.
Thank you, George.
So some people know about the WAV, but many, I would guess, don't know about Place. So who could tell us what is Place?
Well, Place is a nonprofit organization. We are a federally recognized charity, and we work by invitation. We're typically brought in by a municipality or a foundation to address public benefit in their upcoming development projects. And so we address environmental issues, arts and culture issues, and social justice issues all in one. Our mission is to address all of those things. And originally, we started Place through the idea of projects that would link art, community, and environment. And
so it's an acronym.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And basically we build sustainable places for the arts and economic development.
Good, so that's how the WAV fits in, but just because not everyone knows what the WAV is, let's describe that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Well, WAV is a sustainable community, and it's kind of multiple projects in one, because when we began to work with the community, they gave us all of these different missions. So originally, we were called by the city of Ventura, and they were losing their creative class because it was getting too expensive to keep them here. And so they said, can you build an affordable enclave where our artists and artisans can live and work? And we said yes. And then as we began to have this conversation with the business owners and the artists and the nonprofit leaders and the city leaders and the county leaders and grassroots neighborhood folks and homeless advocates and affordable housing advocates, they started saying that they wanted more. They wanted street level businesses. They wanted luxury penthouses where people where artists and creatives who were at the upper end of the income spectrum could live and work. They wanted to have a theater, and it should be free to the entire community. And they wanted us to create an outdoor amphitheater, and that should be free as well, and a gallery that would be free. And could we help with the homelessness problem in Ventura? And they wanted them to be the greenest buildings ever built in Ventura. So it's really all of those projects combined under one roof.
That's quite a wish list. Jeez.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
And one of the things that's powerful about the community process that we always engage in, and I'm not going to name a number, but there were a phenomenal number of public community meetings leading up to this development, which again was a spark in the eye at the city of Ventura. And then we launched this community process where all these people had input. And it's a beautiful way to bring in and hear and respond to dissent, for example. Rather than having people come in late in the process and object to something, they have an opportunity to really be involved all the way along. And so that's one way that you can tackle such an ambitious vision, is to give it the time to develop and unfold and be able to respond to the different challenges that arise in the process. So, for example, I think one thing people don't know in the wider community is that anyone can sign up to use the WAV Theater Gallery and have an event there. And that there's a small security deposit, but we don't charge for that. That is a community asset. And so being able to respond to not only the needs of the artists to have live, work, performance space, but also to have this be a home for other community events. And it's everything from children rehearsing violin, which is one of the cutest things I've ever seen, to very cutting edge performance art that happens in the theater gallery. So it's an event venue in that way, but it's embedded within this flourishing live-work community for artists.
So the WAV is located right in the downtown area and near the beach. How did that location get selected?
We looked at over 80 locations when we were originally brought out by the city, and they had said, we don't want you to look at any sites that the city owns. So we want you to find a private site. So we started looking at private sites, but a lot of property in Ventura is expensive. And so the idea that we were going to buy something for millions of dollars and then turn around and make it affordable at the end of the day was a difficult economic equation. And so we saw one of the sites that was there was abandoned, and we asked about it, and they said, well, yeah, it's contaminated, and we don't know what's going to happen with that site. And we said, well, we can go out and get resources and clean that site up. And there was another group from Ventura called Project Understanding, and they had been wanting to address the homelessness issue, and they had been looking at that site as well. And so we said, let's join forces here, because we can create some spaces for homeless folks. You guys can help by being our case management service provider for that, and that way we can do both things on the same piece of property. And so the more we talked about it, the more everybody really started to like it. And in the meantime, we were able to take a contaminated site and turn it into the greenest community that's yet been built in Ventura. I think that's a great story.
It is a great story. It's a beautiful building. I think it's a great location.
Thank
and
you.
There's, when you're building anything that costs a lot of money, there's going to be some controversy. So I've heard of some of the controversies, particularly surrounding money and financing. So can you comment on the money and financing behind the WAVE?
Sure. I think the first thing that we'd want to say about that is that there are a number of partners in this endeavor. So we have the vast majority of the financing in the project comes from private sources, which is another thing that I don't think is well known about the project. And by the way, we do have a one-page color-coded diagram of the lasagna financing for this project that is available if anyone wants to geek out on it. So we offer that to people because it can be hard to get it at a glance if you don't have a picture. But more than half of the financing was provided through Union Bank, formerly UBOC, I think, of California, as an equity stake of about $22 million in the project. And then the rest of the financing, which is what, Chris, roughly $47 million total, including the $22 million from Union Bank, came from a variety of sources. So we have development and management partners, John Stewart Company. They have an equity and a loan stake, as does Place. We have the City of Ventura and the County of Ventura, who have all invested in the form of loans to the project. Then there are several mortgages through Chase Bank, Citibank, and we did receive grants from the federal government through the Community Development Block Grant Program. And from
Venturans, from individuals, and their names are up on the wall over there. You can go and look and see who helped make the project possible. So
there's about, 3-4% private philanthropy in the project.
Right.
And another maybe 3% of community development block grants. So those were monies that aren't repaid to anyone because they were granted to the project. But otherwise, everything else is supported by the revenue that the project produces, and it's done through basically financing that pays interest and will eventually be paid off.
I think it ended up, there's a lot of misinformation about what WAVE costs, and even when we talk about the total financing package for the project, that is not the cost of the project. We signed a construction contract for $29 million for the project. That's what, when most people are thinking, what does a project cost? That's what the construction budget was for the project. So there was a lot of economic impact that is all great because it generates businesses and there's revenue for private companies, and all of these are market rate transactions. So even though we're a nonprofit, we generate lots of economic activity. That's all a great benefit for the community. That's one of the things that we try to do. And I think a lot of people, and I've heard people say, $67 million of tax money. That's absolutely not true. There's very little tax money in it. Most of it is market-driven transactions. And the city made a very savvy investment because they loaned the project some money, and it was from an affordable housing set-aside fund, and they got affordable housing. There's 63 affordable units in there, including some that are for people who are homeless. And so it serves the very bottom of the economic spectrum. But the project is so much more than affordable housing. So they got all of this other benefit from it as well. They got this arts project, they got street level commercial, they got the penthouses, they got the community theater, they got the amphitheater. So all of these things from the same investment that they would make in any standard affordable housing project. I think that's brilliant, and I don't think that the city officials have gotten enough credit for their creativity in that investment. Instead, because people didn't really understand it, 'cause it's a very complex deal, I think they ended up drawing a lot of criticism. And you can go around and try to defend yourself all day long with that, but I'm here to say I think it was one of the most kind of savvy deals done by a city that I've ever been involved in, because they ended up leveraging their small investment many times over. Before we'd even put a shovel in the ground, they had already been essentially repaid for their investment, and everything for the next 100 years that comes back to the city is going to be extra benefit from their investment that they've made. Not to mention the lives that have been changed for the people who are there.
Wow. Okay, well, we're almost out of time here, right? But I did want to get a little more info on what Place's role is with the WAVE now, so I understand how it helped to create it and had a very vital role. What is the ongoing role?
Well, we are the anchor, as it were, as the nonprofit of the partnership that holds the project. I would like to say in perpetuity, but I think the lawyers would prefer I say 55 years. But the idea is that this project is going to endure, and so we act as the long-term stewards in terms of guaranteeing the public part of the mission and helping the private parts of the development thrive. So the mixture of partners, and I mentioned a number of them earlier, although based on the number, I've left out some major names, but there are a number of public and private partners in the project, and so we anchor it for the long term. So we oversee the management of the property. We come and visit and host the all-community meetings to make sure that people's issues and voices are heard regularly. We are a financial anchor in the project. While our financial stake is small compared to some of the much larger financial institutions involved, it's a very big investment to us. And so
Yes.
our organization, our national board of directors, keeps a very close eye on this project and wants to make sure that it thrives as an affordable artist community long into the future.
I think it's really important. We're a perpetual charity, so we will never go away as an organization. Place will never go away, and we're co-owners of this project. So governments, officials will come and go. The people who live in the WAVE community will come and go, but Place will always be here to make sure WAVE represents the highest community ideals.
Wow, okay. And just as a note, so you guys manage similar properties around the country, and you're actually based in Minnesota.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, and then how often do you come out to Ventura?
Well, for a while we were coming out every month, and when the community was new, and now we come out every quarter, and we probably will continue to do that forever, because that's I think a reasonable amount of look-ins, to make sure everything's going fine, and also we made a lot of friends here. I, for one, wanted to move in. Just it was a kind of a miscalculation, because a guy who makes a nonprofit salary in Minnesota cannot afford an ocean view condominium in California. It was a pipe dream. But I fell in love with Ventura, and I made a lot of friends in the community. So for me, this is like a vacation coming out here.
I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are out of time, but I'd like to get you to state a website that people could get more information, and if there's any summating message you'd like to convey to the viewers.
Sure. If they want more information, they could go to our website, welcometoplace.com, or they could certainly go to the WAVE Artists website, waveartists.com. And I guess we'd encourage everyone to come to a First Friday. So the WAVE typically has an event in Open Studios the first Friday of every month. And when we come out for the quarterly meetings, we also give tours on those Friday nights. Anything else, Chris?
I hope people will find out more and be proud of this project, because it is amazing. I am more proud of this project than anything else I've ever worked on, and I think that the community made a smart investment that's going to continue to pay back for them forever. and it's going to change a lot of people's lives. It's the greenest thing that's ever been built in Ventura, and there's just so many reasons to be proud of it. It's the first sustainable artist community in the world, and I hope that they will be proud of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
All right. This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.